We're doing an interview today. We're joined with Dan Brown Jr. of Crime Sonics. And Dan, you've got a new documentary coming out. It's called Girl Forgotten: What Happened to Brianna Wells. And it is, it's just an amazing story that the very end of the trailer is just this heartbreaking quote from a journalist that says stories shouldn't slip through the cracks. This one did. And it is really a heartbreaking story of really just no advocacy almost.
I mean, you summed it up. That's exactly it. And that was actually the thing that attracted us as a family, as a company, to focus on her case. Because how many times do we need a Richard Ramirez documentary? How many
Oh
times
my
do we need
God.
another Jeffrey Dahmer, another Charles Manson? Side note, the Charles Manson camp and all that stuff, that's like 5 miles from my house where all that took place.
You're kidding.
Wow.
It's just right, maybe 10 miles.
What were you doing those nights? Do you have a
Right. I don't know if I was born, man.
okay, okay.
The beard puts 10 years on
Yeah,
me,
that's right.
but the wife says it has to stay. So, whatever. It has to stay.
It's a must. Facial hair is a must nowadays.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like a glow up for the dudes.
Yeah.
But you're right. That Brianna's story is one of those things that absolutely slipped through the cracks. If you'd like, I could even just kind of ramble a little bit of how that story got on our radar, and then how we
100%.
I
chose
want to
it.
hear everything that you have to say about it because I'm so intrigued. And I watched the trailer, like just hoping something else would stand out. And I was like, I need to know more about this case. Like, this is wild.
Well, that's good trailer editing then.
Oh yeah.
Very good, actually.
Yeah.
If it made you want to know more, we were invited to speak at an event called CrimeCon. You're probably familiar with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A few years ago, and present kind of what it is that I do in the music and sound design world of Crime Sonics. And that year it was in Austin, Texas. And so we elected from Los Angeles to drive to Austin, Texas, long drive. On the way back, my son and I are just having conversations about like the projects that we have been producing, the smaller short form content we've done, public service announcements, things like that. And then I was telling him that my heart is to do something bigger and give back in a bigger way. Kind of, I've said this before, it's kind of like I want to set the universe right. We're using all of these real stories, these TV shows. We link up with all these different producers and shows. We supply music, we make money on the back end. In a way, we're just profiting off of this. And these are real people, real stories, real cases. And we all have to work, we all have to eat, we all have our niche, our niche, whatever. But something inside said we need to start looking into something. And we have all the ability, we have all the equipment. Let's produce something big. Let's look into a case. Let's try to get something that people have not heard about. Let's try to solve something.
Wow.
And so when we were driving back from Austin, we're going through Arizona, through Phoenix. And I've vacationed in Phoenix tons of times. I love it in Phoenix. Love the desert, love the heat, love the cacti, love it. So as we're cruising back to Phoenix, it's a typical Arizona sunset. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but they're remarkable. Their sunsets are unlike any place I've ever been in the world. And it just hit me like, okay, if we're going to do one and spend all this time, all this energy, all this money, let's at least pick it in a place that we can enjoy being. So I started looking into cases, and I actually narrowed it down to 4, and then it kind of got down to 2 cases, and it was Brianna's story and another story of a guy, sweet older guy. As I remember, he just retired or recently retired. I think he was part of the fire department or something. It's been a while. He took a security job to just like patrol like an apartment complex or like a strip mall or something. The guy's on his bike, dude, and he's just patrolling, gunned down, murdered, unsolved.
Was that in Phoenix too?
That was in Phoenix.
Wow.
And so still do have, and have become digital friends via social media with this individual's wife. And so it was between that case and Brianna's case. And it wasn't like I chose Brianna's over that one. It was just how it unfolded. What happened was, when I started digging into Brianna's story, like you guys have done, like everybody has done,
Tried to.
you just can't find anything. And it's weird because you have this, pretty little girl. She's 17, and you think like, where is the media outcry? Where's the family?
And like from a well-to-do family too.
Right. And so you would think, and it's something that's talked about in the film, it's like, the family has like the means and the connections politically to really put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was already a bit interesting to me. And then I found a link to a podcast. Like it was like a link to a podcast. And so I follow it, and then the podcast's gone. And I'm like, that's weird. So I reached out to that podcaster, and we'll get into that probably too in a little bit. But so like it became very aware very quick, like something is weird, something is up.
So
it's got to be this
they
one.
recorded an episode, posted it, and then removed it.
Yeah, there's a guy, if you don't mind, I'll just say his name's Mark. He has a true crime podcast. He had done an episode that actually featured Brianna's adoptive dad. It was like an hour-long episode with her dad. I have that episode. You actually hear a piece of that episode in our trailer when you hear a voice that says, I'm paraphrasing now, but it's something to the effect of like, I've come to live with it. I can live with it if the case is unsolved. That's actually Brianna's adopted father's voice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how lucky was it that you found it in like this limited time that it was posted and were able to?
And actually, it wasn't even that, Lynn. I reached out to that podcaster, and I was like, "Bro, where's your episode?" And he's like, he said, "Well, I took it down because I felt like the dad was going to sue me."
Wow.
And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Can you send it to me?" He's like, "Yep," and all the email traffic. So he sent me everything, and maybe to talk a little bit just about like what we've done on this thing was so we had that original his episode. We were able to find some media, some news footage from this case from the time of her homicide, which is incredibly difficult to find.
There's nothing.
Right, and we have it. It's in the film, and so you can actually see some of the reporting. And then the guy that you mentioned at the end of our trailer, Mike Watkis, he's a well-known, kind of a legendary reporter in Arizona. He's in our film. We have all of the police reports, crime scene photos, toxicology, medical examiners. We can get into all this too, but I also have Brianna's journals. It's terrible.
No.
Is just a quick jump in really, is that all like to get access to that stuff, is that a simple freedom of information request? I mean, the diary might be a little different, but all the
I want to say yeah, but not always. There's a case in my hometown now where I've reached out to the police department, and they are they just push back so hard. And you're like, this other case, it's like it's 30 years old.
Yeah.
I'm willing to spend all kinds of time, bring all kinds of resources, incredibly intelligent minds, forensic criminologists and attorneys will bring all these people together and look into this on my dime. And they're like, no, like, I don't get it. So in regard to Brianna's case, stuff that's not in our film, but I'll share with you because it's fascinating to me, was our interaction with the Phoenix Police Department was just remarkably disgusting. It was remarkable. So much, in fact, I ended up forwarding it over to the mayor of Phoenix, which prompted a phone call, like quick. And I had a 30, 40-minute phone call with the communications director of the mayor of Phoenix, apologizing on behalf of the police department. And then, and it's fascinating, dude. And then just a couple of, I guess at that time, maybe like a year later, maybe I can't remember the exact timeline, but then the Department of Justice launched an investigatory probe into the Phoenix Police Department while we were working on our documentary.
Because of your call?
Not because of what we did, but because of there's just a systemic
so much
history of egregious policing in the city. I'm very pro law enforcement, very anti-Phoenix law enforcement. After a 2-year investigation, the DOJ did in fact, like their findings were like, the Phoenix Police Department, several amendments they violate of the United States, Constitution. It's one of the most corrupt police departments maybe ever. So I won't go all into that now, but like, so to answer your question long-winded, is it easy to get things from the police? Sometimes. A lot of times, no.
Depends on who you get.
It just
So, like-
seems like the police are so overworked and underpaid and have no resources. And I would think that somebody's saying, hey, look, here's some help. Oh, here, take this stuff and just keep us. Here's my cell number. Keep me posted.
They're not
You-
you, though.
Yeah,
You would, you listen, you would think, and the thing that was kind of like maybe even more like sad to me was once I got all the like everything, we have everything. Once we got it all, I start realizing like, okay, I'm seeing names of people. They're supposed to redact everything. They don't redact a lot. Mistakes are made, and it makes it great
Because
for
they didn't take the time
What
to
do they
validate.
care? Yeah.
it makes it great for an investigation because you can start finding the people that slipped through. I want to say slipped through the cracks, but there was just not a lot of follow up. So I can confidently say that I have personally interviewed and filmed with more people in regard to Brianna's homicide than the Phoenix Police Department. We have more evidence of her homicide than the Phoenix Police Department. I think, and we do show in the film that we can tell you, which I won't do right now, but I have 100%, 99.99999%. There's always a.
Yeah.
I think we know exactly who killed Brianna, and I think I know exactly where that person is. Exactly.
Oh,
Absolutely. That's not hyperbolic. That's not me like trying to like go watch our movie. It's all in there. Like it's
yeah.
What
it's a
my problem
solvable
is-
case. It's a solvable
What my
case.
problem is right now is that as we're discussing this, I'm realizing that you are here to promote your movie, and you're
Right.
not going to tell me everything right now.
Right. I
about
can't
that
tell,
movie,
I can tell you a
Which
lot
is-
though.
which is problematic for me.
Yeah. What is your problem actually? To refer.
Well, what we can do is we can talk about a lot of it, and it's funny because I'm looking at my camera here. Right past the camera is the film. I'm in my studio, and the film is done. It's just the musical score. I'm just working on the score, so it's
Do we
like
have a date, a release date? I know we've watched the trailer a couple of
ASAP.
times.
It has to be done. So, like, if I could finish this today, I would. Realistically, I would say I probably have 6 more weeks of
That's not
composition.
bad. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. And then like there's about 13 or 14 minutes of the film that actually require a full orchestra that'll be recorded in Budapest.
What?
And then
Obviously.
and most of the film will have like actual soloist violin violoncello, which will be recorded here. I got a great big room on the other side of the house here. So there's like it's just technical stuff, but the story is done. The film is done. And
So how about us getting like a rough copy?
Yeah.
well, here's
Where
what
would
I
we
will
handle
do.
that?
What I will do is when it's done, I am going to have we're going to have a screening actually in Phoenix, in Brianna's hometown at their local
Wow.
independently owned theater. And then I will have a private link I'll be able to share with some great folks like you. And then
Will
we can,
you?
yeah, absolutely. And then, but it'll be out there on most streamers. That's the goal.
Okay, that's incredible.
Crazy amounts of work, guys. Gosh, there's so much. There's so much to this thing. How do you even talk about all of it, to be honest,
Right. Yo.
I'm so intrigued by that. Now, can I just ask you? I know you can't. You have to be vague, but
Yeah.
is it somebody in her inner circle that you believe, or is it somebody who's not?
Well, it's someone that the Phoenix police are aware of, and
Well, okay.
it's an incredibly solvable case. There are just people who have been identified and named that were never interviewed. There was one particular individual that was mentioned. The Phoenix police tried to interview, but I guess they didn't try hard enough because, like, I was pretty relentless, and we were able to get a 30, 40-minute recorded phone call with this individual and his dad.
They
There
just
was-
like showed up at the house. They're like, well, no one answered.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it.
There is a combination of exactly that. Absolutely what we would call like the ambush, but then there's also using different tactics via social media to get phone calls that are recorded. And yeah, I mean it's
Now, is Phoenix a like a one party? Are you allowed to record them without their knowledge?
I always let people know. And so yeah, I just let them know. It's like there's
So
no
regardless, you're good.
yeah, there's no need to, I let them know, like, look, we have there's a private investigator in our film as well. And we tell them, like, we are contacting you on behalf of Brianna's unsolved homicide. We are trying to solve this. We're going to record this so we don't mess up what you say or anything.
And did you make, like, going into this, kind of when you narrowed it down and kind of selected Brianna's case, did you have an idea that you would be kind of solving this, or you just kind of had the mindset of, listen, we need to bring awareness and let's just get this story out there and maybe something will happen?
It's been, it's been a 4-year mission. I feel like Star Trek, our 4-year mission, it's a 4-year mission. Right. And I would say, it's hard to say looking back, but I just know how I'm wired. And I would say that, I mean, it's been like, let's just get all the facts we can, and then let's just see where this leads us. And so I think always initially it was like, someone knows something.
Right.
Somebody knows
something. Has to know something.
We were able to interview people that were with Brianna a few days before her homicide, 48 hours before her homicide, with very important new details about her story, and an individual that was with her within 2 hours of her homicide and possibly there. And so the reason why I say that is because of the phone call that we had. There's definitely signs of major deception in very one particular moment. And these are the things that we're trying to get to the Phoenix Police Department. And that's why I'm hopping on these awesome podcasts. It's like, it's not
fantastic.
It's not the greatest police department. I'm not here to expose them. The Department of Justice already has done that.
They're letting people know on their own.
we just actually have uncovered a lot about Brianna's case. And then tragically, and I've shared this before and I'll share it again, we uncovered pedophilia about someone in our film. And that, even how that happened was terrible, because we cut an original trailer 2 years ago at our halfway filming point to drum up attention, to like pull people out of the weeds to want to talk with us. It very much worked. One lady contacts me and says, I don't think that particular individual should be in your film. I see him in the trailer and I know he's a pedophile because he used to molest me. That's my dad. And it's like, so it's like, gosh, like, we want to bring that to the Phoenix police. What's the statute of limitation on pedophilia? I don't know in Phoenix, but maybe none. Let's bring this guy before some legal activity. There was another person very closely involved in this story who was raped by another person that's very and closely involved in the story. They've never told anybody until it took me years to get this person on the phone. And then, and she said that she would be willing to talk to the Phoenix police. So it's like, there's a lot, guys. And I feel like our film is so different because I tried to create something I've never seen. What's a true crime show? Like, here's the case, here's the details, here's the suspect, here's the arrest, here's the apprehension, here's the court proceedings, here's the sentence, here's the aftermath. Done. That's not our film. Our film is 3.5 hours long. It's
that true crime doc,
dude, and it's shot more like a film, though it's a documentary, but we shot it like a film. And the reason why is let me back into all of this. Once we started poking around, we realized, okay, we're not going to have access with the family. We can talk all about that too. That became apparent.
Not at all?
Well, I actually had to serve Brianna's adopted father with cease and desist letters. And it was like, man, this is not how we want to go about this, guy. This is not how I want to go about this.
Yeah.
It's like, can I touch on that first? Can I touch on that for a second?
Yeah.
I would say, I think, it's my opinion, because of that other podcast that was taken down, news media that might have infiltrated the family in the beginning. When you have a murdered child or something, people show up at your door, they want to talk to you. The family, they're very standoffish. So then here I come, 5, 6, 7 years later, knocking on the door. They probably have some sort of post-traumatic stress from media.
Yeah, just lumped in as an opportunist, not somebody that wants to genuinely help.
Gosh, guys, and if I could tell you, if our conversation makes it back to her adoptive parents, my plea to them is like, you just read the room wrong with me. You just read the
Right.
room wrong. Like,
It's an open invitation.
yeah, I'm not here to like prove you did something. Like, that's not my vibe. I want to know who did this. And I think we do know now. So, like, long story short, her adoptive dad started sending messages throughout social media, I think to like Brianna's Facebook friend list. If
Oh
this
boy.
guy ever contacts you, don't talk to him. What did he say? Something like, I'm trying to sensationalize all this. I'm trying to implicate the I can't remember all this stuff, but it was
Wrong.
defamatory. And so
Mhm.
I was like, man, I can't let you do that, brother. So I hired some Phoenix attorneys. So we knew that we weren't going to get, family interaction at the time. Reached out to her sister, reached out to her brother. It's not going to happen. Um, so I'm like, well, who is involved in this? And all I can find are these Reddit posts. And I see this woman like in the comments, like she's like talking about this case and battling stuff. And to, give you a long story this short, I realize, okay, Brianna was tragically murdered. She had a friend named Bridget. Bridget's mom, Gina, is the lady that I see poking around.
Okay.
That's the lady you see in the trailer. So it's the murdered girl Brianna's friend's mom who has been the biggest advocate for this story. That was very interesting to me.
Very messed up.
It was like, because your initial or your likely question is, well, why isn't the mom, the real mom?
Yeah.
Why is this lady? And so I reached out to Gina. I didn't know at the time that Gina and I would become we're fairly good friends now. We're fairly good friends. And Gina works in sales. So she's like, we're going to get it. We're going to do it. He's an animal. And I started realizing pretty quick, like, whoa, okay, this isn't your normal crime story. Here's this woman who's maybe 110 pounds soaking wet. She's so small, but she's mighty in personality and passion. And I'm like, okay, that's really interesting. And what an advocate. So, okay, there's an interesting documentary film here. I don't know what this lady knows about the case, but she's been investigating it for 7 years. I'm just popping on the scenes. We had phone calls. I was hooked right away to work with Gina. Yeah, man, we started filming, and then, gosh, I'm just as we're talking, I'm like replaying 4 years of my life.
4 years. Wow.
All that
What
filming.
like passion project, right? Like
It
I don't
is.
know how else I would describe it.
It's a whole term office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it becomes, my son now is 17 years old. He is the age that Brianna was when she was murdered. My son was behind the scenes with me. There were days when he was just like 15, 16, and he's an incredibly talented kid, grew up around cameras and media. So, I can put a camera in my son's hands at 16 years old, and he can navigate that faster and better and have shot composition better than most people in Los Angeles, I would say.
Wow.
And so, here's my son with me sometimes, and it's just like, yeah, it becomes a passion project because it's like we kind of like adopted Brianna post-mortem.
Oh my God.
And there's a moment in the trailer where you see Gina, and she's like preaching in a church, in an African American church in South Phoenix. And she had said, even, and you see it in the film, I can give a little piece away. She says, like, I'm not Brianna's mom, but I'm kind of like her soul mom, her soul mama, you know? And that's how we all kind of felt. Like, I kind of feel like Brianna's soul dad, like.
Like
if
you
there are-
actually care about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yes, because someone, Brianna's, it's cathartic, guys. Let me tell you. When Brianna's adopted father sent out that message to a lot of people that knew Brianna in life, I started receiving all kinds of, I would call it like hate mail.
Mm.
From
Oh.
friends, people from her, school, high school. And, why are you sensationalizing this? We're not. Why are you trying to profit off this? Dude, I spent a lot of money on this. It's not profiting. It isn't
You know,
I'm not a
profiting.
multi-millionaire documentarian that I can
It's like,
name off the top of my head.
it's not profiting. Like that, to even say that is like, oh, because documentaries are free to produce and investigations
what?
cost nothing.
I hate to interrupt you here too, but like in my knowledge of the true crime world, in something that has had absolutely no no, airtime, no, even if you were, it's getting eyes back on something regardless. You know what I mean? Like, people shouldn't be attacking somebody who's doing something, which is more than anyone else is doing.
Almost like a first look. How
Like,
is it sensational? Yeah.
I mean,
regardless.
yeah, it's so sad. And here's what I'll tell you. I'm not unwilling to continue down the road of this story because we have all this evidence that we are going to be bringing to the Phoenix Police Department. We have tried. It's not easy. These people don't like to be like, people don't want their job being done for them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so my hope is when the film comes out that the people who have sent me all that hate mail, they realize like, wow, we also read the room wrong, and we also listened to what, again, Brianna's adoptive dad said, which was all incorrect.
Mhm.
I would hope that I would get a flood of emails of like, now we will, because what happened is I would reach out to people and I would say, we're working on this film. Why don't you come along, and we'd love to film an interview with you, and why don't you speak about the Brianna that you knew, the Brianna that you remember? We can't interview her, but we can get to know her through the stories of the people that knew her. And we were fortunate that several members from her school, member from her church, friends of the family, friends of the siblings, just community members that were aware of it, they all came in and flooded, and we have incredible amounts of interviews. But there were a lot of other people that were like, middle finger.
Well, but it seems like it's a balance of,
Weird, man.
the story of her death, but also a concerted effort to bring to light the story of her life.
Yeah, exactly right. Because what you will find out there is they'll call Brianna a chronic runaway. They'll say she had mental problems. The reporting that, yeah, the reporting that is out there isn't great. And through the lens of the people in our film, they would tell you that it's completely inaccurate. And so we were fortunate enough to obtain, man, I don't know, 400 to 600 photos of Brianna throughout her life. And so we have all of those, which came from like a friend of the family who had a copy of the DVD that was shown at Brianna's funeral. And so we have all those images, and as people are telling us about Brianna throughout the film, we get to see her through her photos at different stages. So we do get all that. There is very little footage of Brianna, but we do have what I would say is what is out there, unless the family has stuff that we just don't have, because they won't at this stage won't communicate with
Pick up
us.
the phone.
Yeah, they won't. Ian, I hold out hope.
You know what? Would you think that after the release, when they see maybe there's going to be a part 2 where people are more willing and more, realizing of what you're doing?
I would hope so, because one of the questions that comes up and has always come up is, why does the family act like this?
Yeah.
And what I would say right off the top is, we being anybody, we should never judge how someone reacts to grief, how someone handles tragedy. We don't know how we would handle tragedy. I have a 17-year-old son. I don't know how I would behave. So I can't project how I would assume someone else should behave when tragedy strikes their family.
If anything happened to my kids, I don't think I'd communicate with anybody ever again. I'd just roll up in a ball.
I just don't want to talk about it. And so there might be some of that. Now, having said that, being that we have filmed with Brianna's 2 best friends, other like friends of Brianna's boyfriend, members of the school, friends of the family, people that go to Brianna's church, people that have known her family for years and years, we've learned a lot about Brianna's family. People that have been in that house, that spent time there, stuff that goes on in that house, people that should have never been in that house, people should have never. Yeah. So like, I would say, and without giving away anything in the film, I know it's hard. We interviewed people that should have absolutely never been around Brianna, and then their perspective of that life, that house. So we do go fairly deeply into what was happening at home. Now, I think that answers to me why the family acts the way they act. I think that does. And that is what we exposed. And again, it's not my opinion. None of this film is my opinion. Who cares about my opinion. I don't have an opinion. This is what the facts show. This is what the people who knew Brianna saw, heard. This is what's in the police reports. This is this is just the facts of everything.
Mhm.
So it took about 13 months of editing daily, like, pretty much full time editing. I put my life on hold. I did the editing of this whole film. And I painstakingly took out opinion. Someone has a theory, out. Someone has
Yeah.
this is not a crime show. Like, I don't care about that stuff. We work on those shows. I love these shows. These shows pay the bills. I don't want to produce that stuff myself. I want something completely unique. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I hold out hope. To answer your question, I can be long-winded because there's so much, but
You know what? I've got to tell you, Dan, you're coming across very candidly right now, but I feel everything you're saying is like just making me itch to watch this documentary. Like,
well, good. I hope.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, you're doing it well.
Well, good. It's funny because when you investigate something, you're just a guy investigating something, and then you're like, okay, but now we have to film everything, and now you're a filmmaker. And then while you're almost done, it's like, well, I guess I got to start promoting this. And it's like, you're just really trying to get the story solved and out there. So I understand what we're doing, but it's like, dude, the girl's case is solvable. Her detective at the time, I'm hopefully it's still Detective Dominic Rostenberg. We're going to be reaching out to him again. We're coming for you again, brother. And dude, it's solvable. We have this case on a silver platter. It's yours. And if anything, the person that I'm absolutely convinced that murdered her, we have other crimes that he's committed for that
Oh my God.
that the Phoenix police don't know, and we're bringing them to you, and he can be charged with those. So
You're like, listen, guys, we've got his DNA. I've got some fingerprints.
Footage here, yeah. Or we let him just hang out free.
yeah, man, we got the drone above his house, bro.
Yeah.
Actually did that.
With all of the like crazy plot points, it almost sounds like this documentary feature is going to be, it's like an iceberg. The unsolved murder is the very top, and then this whole body is the police department. It's the family. It's the lack of coverage. It's the only coverage was misinformation.
You're right, and I love that analogy because you're right. And there was 67 hours of filming. That's what we had, 67 hours. And so I'm trying to whittle this thing down, and to get it to, I think it's like 3 hours and 23 minutes. And you're talking 3 hours and 23 minutes that reflects the trailer. Like, there is not a lull in this thing. And it was difficult because, again, you're just trying to, like, okay, here's Gina, here's this lady. So how do we tell this story through the eyes of this little woman? And I say little, but like, she's
this
massive,
little passionate woman.
Yeah.
massive person, physically small, massively, massive advocate. Yeah, it was hard. And we bring it in, man. Like, you understand the desert, the danger. You understand Phoenix and its uniqueness. You understand specifically South Phoenix. I spent 6-7 weeks of my life in South Phoenix. We never, except for one time, ill-advised, we never filmed in South Phoenix without the help of Delta Security. Delta Security is the most incredible security company I've ever worked with. Try to envision us rolling in with like a black, little black Mercedes van, all of our gear, and then flanked by 2 SUVs, Tahoes, guys getting out full tactical gear, AR-15.
Like Delta Forces, Delta Security.
Well, they're just called Delta,
but it sounds kind of like they got a couple of green berets amongst the mix, maybe.
Guy that runs it, Dave, Steve, like Dave and Steve, and then the others, like, there's a whole lot of other names, like, they're off the top of my head right now, but our main guys, one of them actually kind of makes a little bit of appearance in the film by accident, which is cool because he's kind of there with the PI, but we have a lot of behind the scenes footage. South Phoenix is incredibly dangerous. You should never be there with camera gear.
Really?
Security. Absolutely. You'll see in the film that, I think people are shot there. They're shot there weekly. They might be murdered weekly. There's it's remarkable. When we were filming one day, we're just finding bullet casings. It's just like, South Phoenix.
What?
Yeah. Look into how dangerous South Phoenix is. There's a whole section in the film. It's like a 3-minute thing about how many murders take
It's
place
you guys
there.
getting shot at.
We
His
did.
compilation.
We only got, well, it was Harry twice. It was Harry
Oh my
twice.
gosh.
One
I was joking.
time we filmed, as you saw in the trailer, you know how you see the drone coming down the alleys and you see all these alley shots. It's real important to me that you feel like you're in Phoenix, like you're there. So most of our filming is done in the summer, many days over 110, 114, 117 degrees. Cameras overheating, but you have to see the heat aberrations in the footage. You have to be there.
Get that glow thing on.
You gotta be there. One of the days we were filming in an alley, some blue bandanas come over and Crip Hood, you know.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, and they were like really not happy that we were filming behind their houses. And luckily our security were there. And yeah, they started to talk. I speak a little Spanish. They started speaking Spanish, and like he was just like, "Man, we're good, but let's go." So that was like a little hairy, but the scariest moment we had was we showed there's like you know, there's prostitution everywhere, but there's that there as well. So we're kind of showing the aspects of the area. We're trying to be discreet, man. Like we're parked away behind a strip mall, behind a thing. I'm using a long range lens to like pull in, so we're really far away, but you feel like you're right there. And we're trying to film like people getting picked up, you know, girls of the evening. Next thing we know, a white blacked out BMW flies up next to the van, windows come down. Our security pulls his gun. Like
Oh my God.
it was like, dude, get in the van. I'm like, dang, throwing the camera in. And he's like, yeah, that was a crazy day, man. That was like, all right, we're out of here. We're done filming here tonight. We're done.
It's like a pimp. Did he have like a cane and like a hat?
Well, he would, you know, that's how we think they look. A lot of them kind of look like swag rappers, and you know, I'm sure there was a pistol on his belt because he wanted to know why we were filming his girls, and we were out of it.
Oh my gosh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, there was some dangerous stuff, you know. Yeah, and again, it's an unsolved homicide, so you wonder, like, you know,
Why the interference? What do you? Yeah, just is this guy just a guy or is he like a guy?
yeah, and then you have like, you know, so like you see in the trailer too, Gina, there's a shot where she's like holding a gun in a firing range. You know, she lives in that community nearby and she's worried about retaliation when the film comes out. So one of the things in our film where, you know, she goes firearm shopping, you know, she gets trained by the PI how to protect herself.
That's a shame. That's really a shame.
Good for her though. Yeah.
Yeah, good for her. Good for her. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Is that where Brianna's family lived as well? Was in South Phoenix?
No, and that's why it's so sad. South Phoenix is a terrible place. She should have never been there. I know why she was there. It's terrible.
Trying to pull me in.
She's from Tempe, Arizona. A lot of Tempe is really nice. You know, like Phoenix is a really unique place because you can drive on one street. It's like a grid. Every street's like a grid, and you can just drive on one street straight, flat. You're in a nice area, and then you're just talking, and then you start looking around, and you're like, wait a minute, it got really sketch all of a sudden. And then, like, you know, you go a little further and now you're in South Phoenix and you didn't realize it. So if you're not from there, you can get turned around. Man, I tell you, at nighttime, if you're not from there, don't go south of the highway. Stay north of that airport, man. So
that's absolutely wild. So we're thinking, so
we're working away.
You don't have an official release date just yet.
I'm working away. Like, here's what I'll tell you. It will be either the end of the summer or the very first part of fall. I have to move on because we've actually started a second documentary. We've been filming on the weekends. And so like I have to be done, and I am working myself to almost death to get it done. The film is done.
And Matt and I will get this before.
Yeah, I'll put a link up. Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, we're yeah, and everyone involved is going to get to see it beforehand. And as soon as it's done, like I'll get some links out. You'll get a passcode, and we'll watch it. And then man, we can do a follow-up talk if you want.
I would love to.
As soon as it's out, but I don't know, guys. I wish I could share more. I mean, what I can tell you is this: is the woman in the trailer, Gina, is awesome. And I think the people who watch, you know, one of the things that she would always ask, do I look crazy? Am I crazy? Am I crazy for doing all this stuff? Am I crazy? And I was like, no, you are awesome. Like what you're doing is like noble. Like Brianna she can't thank you. Brianna can't thank you.
It's selfless.
I
It's
also think
simple.
like when I was 17, like and at that age, I found my friends' moms knew kind of the real me over my mom. Like I would never sneak a cig in front of my mom, but my buddy Maddie's mom, sure, she knew whatever I was up to.
I used to get hit on by one of my friends' moms, dude.
Not me.
It was just
Huh.
like,
I would do the
You
hitting.
just made him sad.
Yeah.
it's just like it was just like I won't go all into it. I just remember like looking back now, it's like
Yeah.
that's
What the
pretty
hell was
that's
that?
pretty I
You
don't
know what?
know if
Also, when you were
wasn't
talking
a
about, when you were talking about, you know, she was known as a runaway and she was known for this and that. I can speak from my own personal experience, and it's definitely not. It's not, you know, applicable for every 17-year-old girl. But if my life had have been cut short at 17, that was not some of my best work.
yeah.
It wasn't, you know, it wasn't my something that I would want people to remember me for as my teenage years.
Well, I am glad you said that, Lynn, because this film tells the real story of who Brianna really was through the eyes of the people that loved her the most. That is
Right.
my opinion. Uh, we see her in her photos. We get to hear. I mean, we get to hear little funny little stories and stuff that she was into. And like for example, like you know, I'll share this with the world. Like Brianna liked to dress up like Angelina Jolie.
Matt does that all the time.
Same.
Yeah, you know what? I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, and I see that. I get that. I can respect that.
I like to recite a couple lines from Girl Interrupted.
Right. Well, and like, you know, it's one thing to get to hear that, you know, she's a kid and she's doing cosplay, but we have the photos of it. And so you get to see it. It's like, you know, and then like we find out that, you know, she really loved like animals and we get to see that, like stuff like that, you know. So, you know, and then again, like her boyfriend, like one of the parts of our film, which I think is just totally cool, is Brianna kind of, well, I won't share that too much. Here's what I'll say. Her boyfriend is a G. This guy is awesome. And he wanted to immortalize on his chest, right above his heart, a gigantic tattoo that said Brianna.
Wow.
And so that's in our film, like getting that tattoo and the whole
He did it, eh?
yeah, it was awesome. So we got it all done. And like it's stuff like that that I think just it makes the film
She made her
unique.
mark.
Yeah, yeah, it's unique. And then like, gosh, I can't wait for it to come out because like when you guys see,
Same.
yeah,
Well, it humanizes her. It's not just a lost headline.
right.
Oh, when you see the boyfriend
And
getting
if
that
you want to keep talking and you know, just keep indulging.
Well, there's only so much I can say, like without, you know, you don't want to ruin a great thing for people.
4 years of work.
Well, my hope at the end of the day, as we say, you know, at the end of the day, my hope is that all of the individuals who were and are upset about this kind of just have to like swallow their pride and eat the humble pie and go like, oh, okay, gosh. And look, reach out to me at that point because it's like, you know, all of you who are upset, like I got it. I get it. You read the room wrong. Fine. I don't care. Let's get this girl's case solved. You know, there was a comment in the original trailer on YouTube when a girl says, well, I knew the family. Brianna's life wasn't tragic. Well, I started digging around how well this girl knew the family. Not very well. 67 hours of footage, 4 years of interviews later, $250,000 of my own money. I can tell you that this girl's life was incredibly tragic in a lot of ways. That's not my opinion. We have all the facts. And so when the film comes out and you see it, say sorry, I don't need it, then come hang out, let's do an interview. You know what I mean? Like let's just tell it accurately. Gosh,
You're like, be sorry to Brianna. I don't care.
be sorry to her. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you there was some people I would interview who would say, oh, I was great friends with her. Or I'd want to interview and they would say, oh, I was great friends with Brianna. And I would say, great, let's do an interview for the documentary. I'm kind of busy. Gosh, it's so heartbreaking. Or I would have people say, yeah, I'll do it, but you got to pay me.
Oh, please.
So you knew Brianna in life, you were friends with her in high school, and now you want me to pay you to be in it?
You're the opportunist, though.
I'm like,
Exactly right.
gosh, dude. And that's the level of tragedy in this thing from top to bottom, from like, from what the community will say, like from the family, from the DOJ says, from the police department, from the school has their opinion, like everyone has their opinion of everything. And it's just like, it's just a systematic failure on all fronts on behalf of Brianna, really, except for Gina and the film that surrounds her efforts.
Well, the trailer it speaks for itself. It
Yeah.
is. I've seen it a few times. We're going to post on our social channels as well. It is
Please.
called Girl Forgotten: What Happened to Brianna Wells. Dan Brown Jr., thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, brother. Anytime, anytime.
What a story.
We're going to cut off our recording and then you're going to tell us everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Done.
Please send it to us. I will
I
not stop
will.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
I will.
And then let's touch back
Yeah,
again
stay in
for
touch.
sure.
Yeah.
I will.
And you know what? I'm just blown away by the story. I'm blown away with your dedication to the story.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I mean, you know, Brianna's up there looking down and saying, thank God somebody's doing something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sad I forgot and we didn't touch on it, but it's fine. We'll do it at the other another time. Was in the original trailer that we cut 2 years ago. A lot of people are convinced that Brianna had been reaching out to them, and we have this whole section towards the end of the film where all these people like are telling me these stories of these dreams or visions that they've had of her.
Wow.
And I never intended that. I'm not that kind of person to go down that train of thought because I'm a facts kind of guy. And
Deal with facts.
but man, it was fascinating because like, you know, all these people who do not know each other were coming to me with that. And like, oh, one thing I should probably tell you. And I'm like, you too, huh? Wow. So it's crazy, man.
You're on the right track.
Wow.
It's crazy, guys.
That was incredible. And I'm not going to stop thinking about this for 6 weeks.
Good. Yeah, I'm working hard to get it done.
Well, I hope you have a boring summer with zero plans and you get in that lab.
Yeah, get it done for us, please.
Bro. I'm in the lab.
Oh, wow.
I'm in.
Yeah. Go to the end, last 10 minutes and hit play.
I'm in the lab, bro. I'm in the lab.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks,
this
Dan.
is such an incredible project you've taken on.
Okay, guys. Man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You as well. Thank you.
Take care.
Enjoy the LA weather. Bye.
I'm only making this video because I had a friend who was murdered.
We want to begin with breaking news.
Teenager found dead in an alley, now identified as 17-year-old Brianna Wells.
I cannot believe this case is still unsolved.
My mom, she has an obsessive way of thinking about things.
Too many murders in your neighborhood. Too many crimes.
These alleys in Phoenix, they are like secret veins of the city.
One thing that really disturbed me was the way the media was portraying her.
Because she wasn't a runaway troubled teen like they said she was.
I just want to find out who did this and why.
You know, that's when I realized that it was a body. It was a female body.
Right here, right behind here, a 17-year-old girl was murdered.
Today, we are announcing an investigation into the Phoenix Police Department.
I wanted to ask you if you know anything about this case.
Are they doing their job? My God, you talk to everybody. It's homicide investigation 101.
Every time somebody looks at this case or reads anything about this case, the first thing the public says is, where is the family and why aren't they doing anything?
I can live with it if it's not solved.
We as first responders, if there's anything that we could help, we would do it. Unfortunately, in this case, we were not able to do that.
If we all live in fear, then we're going to let the monsters rule everything.
You're going to line up your sights. You're going to point it.
I've been in your community. I've been in your churches. I need to drive a hero out of that neighborhood. It's not been forgotten now.
There's stories that should not slip through the cracks, slip through the cracks. Yeah, it happens.